What's going on, park hoppers? It's Tugs here, and today I have some crazy news to go over with you. Magic Kingdom last night had quite the evening. Splash Mountain had some problems and had to shut down about 5:30 last night because one of its ride vehicles actually sunk in the water. So I'm on Blog Mickey's website here. We're going to go through this. There's a photo here of what the log looked like, and it is Splash Mountain has been having some serious problems ever since Disney World reopened a few weeks ago. It's been experiencing extensive downtimes. It actually shut down for a couple of days last week for an undisclosed reason. It was shut down, didn't open at park reopening. It said temporarily closed on the app. And when guests and bloggers walked over there to see what was going on, it actually was drained of water. So they completely had drained it. So whatever happened, they had to drain all the water out. When you come down the hill, that area after you come down the hill was all drained out. So who knows what that was about, but they did drain it. It was closed for about 2 days, and then it finally reopened again right before the weekend. And then this happened. This happened Saturday night, about 5:30 p.m. The attraction closed for the rest of the day and guests were evacuated. The first report that this could be more than a typical evacuation came into Blog Mickey shortly after the ride closed. Now, a typical evacuation is usually what you see when you're walking to a ride and the cast members are all standing outside of it and they're standing there like, oh, sorry, we've shut down. Sometimes it's due to weather. Sometimes it's due to an animatronic just not working. Maybe somebody got sick on the ride and they had to clean it, so they shut it down for a little bit. Just basic, normal, typical stuff. A car got stuck and they have to unstick it. Just little things like that. Your normal everyday downtimes. That's what a typical evacuation usually is. Now, Chris Moschella here was the first person to break this information. It's about 5:41 p.m. East Coast time. It says 2:41 here. That's West Coast time. And their tweet says, a ride vehicle has completely sunk on Walt Disney World's Splash Mountain just after the riverboat finale scene. The boat is entirely under the water and its nose is under the log in front of it. Guests are currently being evacuated past it rather than an alternate route. So for those of you who maybe are not familiar with the rides, the water rides at Disney parks, they operate on a track system. So there's a track portion, like when you come down off the hills, there's a track underneath you and it helps pull the ride vehicle along, and then it'll float afterwards. So Pirates of the Caribbean is really the best example of this. When you're coming down that first drop in Pirates of the Caribbean, that's on a track, but then it'll float and it kind of bounces. It'll bumper car on the side of each side. It kind of bumper cars, and then if there's a log in front of you or a car in front of you, as it stops, it'll actually bump the car in front of you. Splash Mountain does it. The Navi River Journey in Pandora World of Avatar does it. Pirates of the Caribbean is famous for its bumper car feel. It's just natural with these water rides because they operate on track, off track, and they kind of bounce around a little bit with the water as they float along. Now, once that report came out late last night, subsequent reports were posted to Twitter confirming the original report that Chris posted that a ride vehicle was fully submerged in the finale scene. And the tweet they reference here, this is Sky's tweet. She is the one that has the video. She was the one that was evacuated, her and her party. And she says, so we got out of our boat because it was sinking while we were stuck there, and the Disney World employee decided to tell us that we should have stayed in the boat, but it went under as soon as we all stepped out. And her video, will play it here really quick. I turned the sound off for you, but if you wanted to go and check it out for yourself, you can actually hear the cast member saying you should have stayed in the boat. It's just for everybody's safety. I know that that's a bit of a controversial topic right now. We'll get into that in a second, but here's the video for you. And before I even start this, you can see that the log that's underwater here is definitely underneath the log in front of it. So the log in front of it has now completely been skewed. It's not on the track anymore. It's been skewed because it's been hit. And this one is underneath it. So let's see what this looks like here. And you can see that the water is pretty deep. Like, this thing it's done. The log in front of them still has people on it. Just for a brief second, you saw a guy in a black baseball cap there. So they're working on getting everybody evacuated. Now, Sky and her party, they did exit the boat before the cast members instructed them to. I don't really blame them for that. Your boat is sinking. Time to jump ship. The boat did continue to sink past what is shown in the video above. So where it was at in that video, it actually continued, according to their sources, it continued to sink further under the water after that video ended. So this particular part of the attraction is reportedly about 6 feet deep, according to Blog Mickey's sources. Now that's a lot of water. So for me, I'm 5'2", so if that had happened and I was on the boat ride, I would definitely be treading water should we have gotten into a swimming situation. There is some more photos on Twitter. This is a better angle of what this looks like. You can see down here that the log has sunk over in the water by this platform right here. So what that means is that the guests that were in that log, Sky and her party, and others, they probably jumped out of the log onto this platform. That in and of itself can be very dangerous because if you slip and fall, those logs, they can get pretty slippery when wet. If you've ever stepped into one that has particularly gotten a bad case of the water after the drop, you can feel how slippery it is as you step into the log to go on the ride. So jumping from there to the platform here, that's a safety hazard. So I can see where the cast members were coming from. The other thing that you don't really realize unless you ride these rides a lot is this here is a portion of the track or the canal that keeps the boat going straight. So when you bump and back and forth, you're bumping into here and you're bumping into these here. In Pirates of the Caribbean and other water rides, during certain parts of the ride, if you look to your left or right, depending on what side of the car you're on, you can see track under the water, you can see wiring under the water. There's all kinds of things that are under the water that you don't know what you're going to be stepping on until you step in the water or jump into it and you hit those things, you could get hurt that way too. So the cast member telling them they should have stayed in the sinking ship, I can see why the guests might have been upset by that. I can also see where the cast member is coming from. They don't know which direction you're going to go. They don't know what the situation is until they get there. There are cameras and they can see you, but they don't know the direness of the situation until you see it in person. So as they're coming, guests are getting out of the log. The bottom line is that nobody was hurt. Everybody made it out okay. The ride is still shut down today. It was closed down last night. It's still shut down today. There's no word when it's going to reopen. Hopefully, when they do reopen, it's not going to be such a rough ride for poor Splash Mountain. Poor Splash Mountain is just, before they shut it down permanently to do their revamping into the Princess of the Frog, hopefully it's smooth sailing from now on. I'm really glad everybody is okay. This is absolutely insane. I've never seen anything like this before. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. And if you have any crazy stories about any of these rides breaking down like this, please share them in the comments below because I honestly am just absolutely mind blown by this entire situation. I have never heard of anything like this happening before at all. So I just, wow, this is so crazy. Anyway, you guys have a great night and we'll catch you later. Bye.